What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and in today's video I want to talk about some of the quality of life features that I want to see in Final Fantasy XIV come sometime in 5.0. We've talked about these a piece here and there, but this is really focusing on helping new players level and play the game the way that it needs to be played, the way that incentivizes us to group together, especially in the early game. Now, you might not run into these issues, but somebody who tends to play with players through the story at a different pace than myself, whether they're a new player coming into like Casa de Sol in this whole area, or they're an experienced player like myself who might just be now catching up into Stormblood. And the first one obviously is party level sync. There should be an ability for me as a party leader to specify who in my party and get them the obviously list and say sync to this player. Now, if you're not used to party level sync in the past, other games do systems like this now, kind of really stemming from Final Fantasy XI and onward into Guild Wars and even World of Warcraft now. But it wouldn't sync players up. It only sync players down. So if I was level 70 and I sunk to a level 60 player, I would now quote unquote be level 60 for the time of that level sync. And then as we travel through the zone, as we fought enemies, I would not be a detriment to my friend. I would not have to stand outside of their party to be able to assist them. And I think obviously we're going to be talking about progression in a future video that's coming out pretty soon. I think next week. Keep an eye out for it. But for the most part, party level sync would be huge for Eureka. It would be huge for the game as a whole, especially if anybody is playing the game and playing the story, just so that you can then participate with them. You can then help them out. Obviously, the next extension of this is quest sharing, and that's either sharing the rewards, which honestly, at this point, I wouldn't care about. What I want to know is, if you look at their mini-map, if you look at the quest log, it'd be helpful to see where they need to go. I don't have every quest memorized. I don't think the majority of players do. And obviously, there are websites like Gamerscape that do a great job at helping you find that information. But the game should really kind of help that out. It should tell me, like right now I can see a fate over here in the game, but it should tell me like, hey, here's a quest. Here's a quest for you that your friend has, and they need to go in that direction. So as we're playing together, as they're working on the main story, I don't have to go off of memory when I'm in their party. Now, we can get into the concept of rewards and how that should be split out. Obviously in detail, I'd love to know your thoughts. I know people go both ways. They don't want quest sharing and they do. All I'm really actually talking about is the quality of life, just to know where they're going so that we can go together, so that we can play this game together. All right, let's talk about the obvious next extension, single player fights that are a part of the main story. You might think there's a lore reason to it, and I completely understand, and I feel you. I get it. But lore aside, if a player is going into a single player fight, they should have the opportunity to bring in friends. And I would prefer that those friends then scaled up the difficulty of those fights themselves. So if you have to kill more enemies, well, guess what? You have to kill even more enemies now that you're going in with a buddy at, two friends fighting the fight, or 4 friends. Obviously, maybe some support a limitation, but the simple fact is that all 3 of these things keep me from going into the game and helping out new players. What it does is I have to drop party and form party for fates, because dungeons and fates already do the level sync. And then every time I run into one of these roadblocks for a single player story fight, we have to drop party and reform. And whether you're stuck or you're blocked on it, it doesn't help. It ends up, I think, de-incentivizing us playing together. And that's just my opinion on those 3 items. I'd love to know yours as it relates to the overall game and the overall experience. So finally, a 4th one. Let's talk about maps and map markers. I can go in and place a map marker. If you're on controller, you can do like the L bumper and R bumper to easily place that. And you can see here that in my chat log now, it now says flag. And if I went and put this into my, party chat, for example, I can say flag, and that's going to share it to my party. They can then click on that in the text chat, and it's going to show them where I place my flag. I think the system should evolve into the fact that I can place a flag, and you can place a flag, and everybody can place flags, and then you would see them here on the map, and it would say Bryn's flag, and maybe it has a specific color relating to my job, or my role, or a number saying, my order in the party list, so that each of us have our own flag, and we can place that flag, and we don't have to worry about putting it into the text chat and it showing up. Obviously, we could still do that if they wanted to do, link shells, and they have that kind of feature if you're sharing a location of any particular hunt mom. But within the party itself, I think it would be most beneficial for us to share this information and really have a good time with it. That really is these 4 items that are, I think, quality of life that I think would, really add to the enjoyment of the game. I know a lot of people, when we talk about the single boss fights, talk about they want the ability to replay those fights. What better way to replay it with a friend? Obviously, I think they've said that they're working on that system to bring it into the game itself. But I think what we want, and at least in my opinion, it would really benefit the game itself, is if we were allowed to play more of the game together optionally. These fights shouldn't be set up for 4 people. You can totally do them solo. But if you bring friends, it's going to scale and offer just a little bit more of a challenge because you have more people that you're working with. And obviously, I think essentially because you're bringing in more people, it's a little bit easier. So those 4 things again: party level sync, quest sharing, at least from a quality of life adjustment, single player fights to allow for multiple players, and finally, map markers. Allow those things just to naturally be shared. Those are 4 things that I really am passionate about and would love to see in 5.0 or at some point. I'd love to know your thoughts on these ideas, or if you have your own, please share them in the comments below. I also have a link to the post that I've made on the official site down in the description below. Be sure to check that out. Let me know what you think. Sound off on the forums or in the comments, and let's have that conversation. But guys, for Work to Game, my name's Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Hey guys, Chris here. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see our next video, go ahead and click right there. If you'd like to see our vlog, click down below. The subscribe button should be right below me here, and you should see all of our contact information. Have a great day, and we will see you next time.